Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am going to be bringing you the long-awaited Fenty beauty review. I asked you guys on Twitter if you guys would rather see me do a foundation review / wear test or a makeup tutorial reviewing the products. And over like 75% of you guys said that you would rather me actually do a makeup tutorial and review the products in the process. So that is exactly what I'm going to be doing for you guys today. So many of you guys reached out to me asking me if I was going to be reviewing these products. So that is why I'm bringing this review to you guys, and I really hope that you enjoy it. If you're new to my channel, my name is Faye. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out today's review. I really hope that you enjoy it. If you do, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you are not a part of the Faye fam, be sure to subscribe down below and click the bell next to the subscribe button so that you can become part of the notification squad and you won't miss out on any future videos. So this video is probably going to be a long one, let me go ahead and say. So if you need to, press pause, grab a snack, get some coffee, get comfortable. Definitely go ahead and do that, but I did want to bring you guys a pretty thorough review since so many of you guys requested it. So I hope that you guys enjoy, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Alright guys, so for today's look, I'm going to try to recreate the makeup look that Rihanna wore for the launch of Fenty. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I'm going to start off by prepping my skin with the Too Faced Hangover RX Replenishing Face Primer. I'm pretty much going to use this today as like a moisturizer because I did do my skincare routine, but I did not apply a moisturizer specifically because I knew I wanted to use this. So I'm just going to apply this all over my skin so that it can be absorbing while I'm working on my eyes. So to start, I'm going to prep my eyes with my MAC Paint Pot in the shade Laying Low. You guys know that I always use this to prep my eyelids for eyeshadow. So I'm just going to apply this all over my lids and buff it out with my finger. So next up, to make sure that the shadows I place on my lid buff out seamlessly and don't get stuck to the primer, I'm going to set it down with this shade right here. This is Beaches and Cream from Makeup Geek. So I'm just going to apply this all over my entire lid to set my eyeshadow base. Okay, so I went ahead and added some tape to the edges of my eyes just so that I can get some really crisp, sharp edges because I will not be doing a winged eyeliner. And also, most of you guys probably know that Rihanna did not come out with any eyeshadows or anything like that. So I'm going to use some of my own eyeshadows just to create a transition in my crease before I go in with one of her products. So first up, I'm going to be taking Tan Lines from Makeup Geek, and I'm just going to buff this back and forth all the way throughout the crease as my transition shade. So next up, I'm going in with the shade Tiki Hut, which is also from Makeup Geek, and I'm just going to apply this right below the transition shade to create a little bit more dimension in the crease. Alright, so now we've got a pretty nice warm crease situation happening. So I'm going to go in with my Too Faced Shadow Insurance and just create a little bit of a cut crease on the inner portion of my lid just to give the lid color that we're going to be placing a little something extra to stick to. Okay, so next up we're going to go in with our first Fenty product. This is the Kilowatt highlighter, and this one is in the shade Trophy Wife. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already heard about this highlighter because this has been probably the most popular and most talked about shade from the line. You guys probably won't be able to see in this lighting, but the packaging is stunning. It's really lightweight, and when it hits the light in certain ways, you can see that it kind of has a little bit of like sparkle and like unicorn iridescent on the packaging. It's really beautiful. And then when you open it up, you have your highlighter on the inside, which is stunning. And then you also have a little mirror on the inside also. So I'm going to go ahead and use this flat concealer brush and dip right into this highlighter and apply it onto my lids. Okay, so first impression on this highlighter, it really has a lot of glitter in it, you guys. So I'm actually going to try applying it with my finger and just pressing it onto my lid. And that actually looks like it works a little bit better. The color is beautiful, but it has a lot of glitter in it. Okay, so I also ended up spraying my brush down with a little bit of Fix Plus, which helped to intensify the pigmentation on my eyelid, as well as helped all the little glitter particles to really stick down to my eyelid. So now that I have that on, I'm actually going to just go back in and blend out my crease and just add a little bit extra on this outer portion just to help to blend both of the colors together. Okay, so that was actually very easy to blend out on my eyelid. And I think that's pretty much all that I'm going to do with the lids, because the look that she wore to her event was very minimalistic and focused mostly on the skin. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a very thin line of liner and some lashes, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I am back. I have my lashes on. For those of you guys that might be interested, I'm wearing the Pure Pro eyelashes in the style Diva. So I went ahead and applied those, and I did end up smoking out just a little bit on this outside part of my lash line with black eyeliner, just to kind of create a little bit of a shape for my eyes. So I will go ahead and say that in the course of me putting on my eyelashes, the glitter from this highlighter has literally gotten everywhere. It's like all over my face down here, and it's starting to kind of spread up into my crease area. So I would recommend, if you plan on using this on your eyes, to actually use a glitter glue, which if I would have known that it was going to get everywhere, I would have used my Too Faced glitter glue instead of the Shadow Insurance. But this particular highlighter has quite a bit of glitter in it, so it'll be interesting to see how this wears on the cheeks once I actually apply it onto my cheekbones. But first, I'm just going to clean up all this glitter that has fallen down on my face. Alright, so next I'm going to go ahead and start working on the skin. The first thing that I'm going to do is prep my skin with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. And then next up, I'm going to go in with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Primer. This is the packaging. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that, but really cute packaging. And then when you actually take the primer out of the box, this is what it looks like. It's a glass bottle, really nice, luxurious packaging. So I'm just going to squeeze out about 1.5 pumps of the primer and apply it onto my skin. And you guys know that I have very oily skin, so typically I tend to go in with a smoothing and like an oil controlling primer. But since she did create a primer to go with her foundation, I'm just going to use this primer just so that you guys can see how it applies to the skin and how the foundation lays on top of it. Okay, so primer is applied, and I will say that this primer is not sticky at all. It applies more like a moisturizer, but you can feel that it has a little bit of tackiness to it, which I like, because I do like primers that give my foundation something to stick to. And also, if you have areas on your face where you have large pores, I would recommend really pressing the primer into those areas, because I do see that it does do a pretty decent job of smoothing out or blurring out those areas. It's not the best primer that I've ever used for smoothing out pores, but it definitely does a little bit of smoothing and blurring for sure. Okay, so next up is the foundation, and this is what the packaging looks like on the foundation. Pretty much exactly like the primer, except black on the front. And I have the shade 370. I believe that this shade is described as warm for like tan skin with warm undertones, I believe, something like that. But yeah, so this is what it looks like. Another glass bottle, really nice packaging. All of the packaging on all the products is really luxurious, so I give her 2 thumbs up on packaging. It does say to shake well on the bottle, so if you get the foundation, definitely make sure that you shake it up really well. Like I said, mine is in the shade 370. I also got a sample of 360 as well, and 360 I believe is a neutral, for neutral skin tones with more like olive undertones. And I've been finding that although this one works pretty well for me, mixing the 2 of these together, it kind of gives me more of my, like a closer match to my actual skin tone. I use mostly 370 with probably like just a little bit of 360 mixed in to balance out the warmth and give me a better match for my skin tone. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply these. Okay, so this neutral tone color right here is shade 360. And this warmer shade up here is shade 370. So as you can see, I didn't do too much of 360 because when it dries down, it does dry down pretty cool and a little bit darker. But the 2 of them mixed together, I feel like gives me a really good match. And to buff it out, I'm going to be using my Morphe M439 brush. Okay, so that is 1 layer. This foundation is described as a medium to buildable coverage, which makes sense because Rihanna does have flawless skin, and most of the time when I see her makeup done, it is a very skin-like kind of look. Me in particular, I prefer a more full coverage foundation, so I'm gonna go in with another layer because as you can see, you can still kind of see some darkness and just my spots and imperfections and stuff on my skin. So I'm just gonna take 370. I'm not gonna go back in with my little sample that I have here. I'm just gonna take 370 and apply another layer. Okay, so for the second layer, I did more of a patting motion, and I found that that gave me a little bit more coverage. So this is what it looks like so far with 2 layers of foundation on the skin. So next up, I'm gonna go in with the match sticks. I picked up 2 shades. I have the shade Walnut to conceal and highlight, and then I picked up the shade Truffle to contour. Now, you guys know here on my channel, I am not a big cream contour kind of person, but I have heard that these are like a cream to powder matte finish. And so I wanted to try it out because it's Rihanna, so you know, why not? So I went ahead and picked up 2, and the cool thing about the packaging on this is that they are magnetic. Most of you guys have probably already seen that, but the packaging on this is a magnetic packaging, which I think is super cute and just super different. So yeah, I'm gonna go in first with the shade Walnut, which is the like highlight color, and this is what it looks like. It's kind of like a little chunky contour stick, and this is how much product you get in the stick. Not a ton of product. It says 0.25 ounces, but the stick itself is pretty thick, so I'm thinking that it would probably last you a pretty long time. I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and apply this underneath my eyes and on all the areas that I normally contour. Now, as you guys, or highlight, but as you guys can see, I do have some darkness under my eyes, so I'm curious to see how this will cover those areas. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply it, and I'm going to blend it out with my Beauty Blender. Okay, so I'm still deciding how I feel about the highlighter, the cream highlighter. Like I said before, I don't usually use those types of products on my face, so I am still deciding how I feel about it. I mean, it looks good. It's not as much coverage as I would prefer, so I'm actually going to go over top of it with a little bit of my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, just because I just want a little bit more coverage and also just a little bit more of a highlighted look underneath my eyes. Okay, so next up I'm going to go ahead and bake my face and apply my brows, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so brows are on, my face is set. This glitter on my eyelids is still continuing to kind of get a little out of control. I was going to put this highlighter up here on my brow bone, but I'm probably not going to do that now just because it's really just getting everywhere. Like I said before, I think I would have really loved this a lot more if I had put down an actual glitter glue just to help keep everything in place, because right now it's just kind of getting everywhere. But anyway, yes, my face is set and my brows are on. So next up I'm going to move on to the Truffle Matchstick. This one is for contouring. This is what the color looks like. A nice warm contour shade, which is right up my alley. And I'm actually going to use this. I'm going to do a technique that I actually saw Alyssa Ashley do on her Fenty Beauty review. So instead of applying the product directly to my face, just because, like I said, I am a newbie or an amateur, I guess you can say, when it comes to cream contouring, I'm actually going to take this e.l.f. little fan brush right here, and I'm going to apply the product directly to this brush. And hopefully I'm not going overboard. But yeah, so I just applied it directly to this brush, and then I'm going to use the brush to apply it to my face, which hopefully will give me a little bit more control over where I'm actually placing the product. Okay, so yeah, I do like this technique. I would actually recommend, instead of placing it directly on the center, kind of put it on the edge of the brush, just because once I actually started to apply the product to my face, I noticed that I was actually using more of the edge of the brush than I was the center. So this time I kind of put it on the lower half of the brush, and then yeah. And keep in mind, I did already set my face with powder, and it's still applying pretty nicely to the skin. And I'm going to do the same technique on this little mini kabuki brush to contour my nose as well. Okay, so I am not mad at the contour stick. I really like the contour stick. I think if you are a beginner, the contour stick, like a beginner to cream contouring, that particular stick will probably be a nice one to start off for you to like try it out. Because it's not like super overly pigmented. Of course you can build it up, but I like applying it with the brush because it definitely gave me a little bit more control. So yes, 2 thumbs up for the contour stick. So moving on, I did notice in her picture that she had a little bit of a pink flush to her cheeks. So I'm just going to use this blush that I have right here. This is the Sigma Aura Powder blush, and this one is in the shade Cor de Rosa. So I'm just going to apply this on my cheeks and blend it into that contour. And then I'm also just going to take this little stippling brush and just kind of buff everything together. Okay, so to finish off the eyes, I'm not going to do a whole lot. I'm just going to apply the same shades that I used in my crease to my lower lash line. and then also apply a little bit of the highlighter on my lower lash line as well as into my inner corner. Alright guys, so I went ahead and finished up my eyes with a little bit of mascara. I used the Colossal Big Shot mascara on my lower lashes. And now I'm going to go back into Trophy Wife and I'm going to apply this on my cheeks. And I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous because I see what's happening on my eyes, and I assume that the same will probably happen on my face just because there is so much glitter. But I'm going to use my tapered highlighter brush. This is the F35 by Sigma, and I'm just going to lightly, very lightly tap it into the highlighter and tap off the excess, which is literally just glitter. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to sweep because I saw on my eyelids how that worked out. And actually before I do that, I'm just going to apply a little bit of Fix Plus to my face. Okay, so while my face is still damp, I'm going to go ahead and take this highlighter and I'm just going to apply it to the areas on my face where I want it. I'm not going to sweep it, I'm just going to kind of press it there. Okay, so now that I have it where I want it on my face, I'm going to tap off all the excess on my brush. And then I'm going to kind of lightly sweep over it just to kind of blend it out a little bit. Okay, and then like I said, I'm not going to put any on my brow bone just because I just don't think I want to do that. So I'm just going to leave it, you know, how I have it. It looks really pretty. It's just a lot of glitter. I know I keep saying that, but it's just a lot of glitter. So moving on, I'm going to go ahead and apply the lip gloss, which is another product that I've been very excited about. Before I apply the gloss though, I am going to take just a little bit of Velvet Teddy by MAC. I've been seeing a couple people in their reviews doing this, not with this particular color, but just with any kind of nude color. And I'm just going to lightly tap that on my lips before I apply the gloss. Alright, and so now I'm going to go ahead and go in with the lip gloss. The gloss smells really, really good, you guys. I don't know what the scent is, but it reminds me a lot of like lip smackers. I don't know if you guys remember back when lip smackers was poppin', but that's what the smell reminds me of. And the gloss is really smooth on the lips. And it's not sticky. It smells so good. Okay, so I'm going to finish off just by setting my face. I'm just going to use my Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. Alright guys, so this is the finished look. This is what everything is looking like now that it's all settled and my face has been set and it's kind of all been sitting on my face for a little bit. So now let's go ahead and get into my final thoughts about the products that I purchased from Fenty Beauty. Okay, so let's start off with the primer. The primer I do really like. Like I said, it does apply like a lotion kind of moisturizer type formula. It has a slight tackiness to it, but it's not like super sticky, and I do feel like the foundation applies really nicely over top of it. If you do have large pores like I do, I would recommend that you go in with some type of primer that you like, that is really good for filling in your pores, just in those particular areas where you have larger pores. Because although it did smooth out those areas, I don't feel like it did as great of a job as some of the other primers that I have do. But overall, I do think that this primer is a really great buy. I do think it's worth the money. I will definitely continue to use it and will probably also repurchase it once I run out of it. And if you don't have large pores, you will probably absolutely love this primer because it does do a great job of smoothing Just for me, I have exceptionally large pores, but if you don't really have like super large pores or a lot of texture on your skin, you will probably absolutely love this because, like I said, it does do a really great job of smoothing. I just need a little bit of extra attention in this area of my face. But overall, this one gets a thumbs up from me. Okay, so moving on to the foundation. First and foremost, I have to take a second and give Rihanna her props for coming out with 40 foundation shades. That is crazy to me. That is one of the reasons, honestly, why I think so many people have been all about supporting her brand, because usually when brands come out with foundations, they normally will come out with tons of different shades for lighter complexions and then like 3 or 4 shades for deeper or darker complexions. And then they'll kind of just say like, oh, well, we'll just see how it goes and then maybe we'll add some more in the future. And Rihanna has literally shown all like the makeup industry that you don't have to wait until the future to see if it's going to work out or not. If women of color are represented and their shades are available in your brand, we will purchase it if it is a good product. So I have to give Rihanna her kudos for being so inclusive with her foundation shades, and even to hear the fact that she is planning on expanding her shades even more and eventually adding double the amount of shades and having 80 foundation shades. That is just crazy to me. So yes, I have to give her kudos for that. So moving on to the foundation, like I said, my shade is the shade 370. I have been mixing it with 360 to get my perfect kind of undertone and perfect overall shade. But I do think that if I had to just use 370 on its own, which I have done, I could definitely get away with using just this color by itself after highlighting and contouring and all of that. I do really like the foundation. If you have very oily skin like I do recommend that you continue with your regular routine. So if you normally bake under your eyes, if you normally set certain places on your face, if you normally make sure to use like oil controlling powders and different things like that, I recommend that you continue with your regular routine while using this particular foundation, because I have found that if I just use the foundation and I don't do my regular routine, I do tend to see a lot of my oils seeping throughout the day. But I will also say that using the two of these together, they do work very well together, which I'm sure was the whole point of them coming out with a foundation and a primer. I'm sure they are formulated to be used together. So if you can, I would recommend picking up both of these. And then just whatever your regular routine is for your skin, I would recommend just continuing with that and then just adding these into your routine. But yes, the foundation gets 2 thumbs up from me. Just make sure, as it says on the bottle, that you do shake it up because it is more of a liquidy consistency, but it does build very nicely on the skin. It can be either a medium or a buildable to somewhat full coverage, not completely full coverage, but somewhat full coverage. And yeah, it looks really nice on the skin. It wears very nicely throughout the day, and it's very lightweight. Like it's not tacky, and I don't feel like I have anything on my skin. So definitely recommend the foundation. Now moving on to the matchsticks. As you guys saw in the video, I did pick up 2 of them. I would highly recommend the contour stick. I really love the contour stick. If you are a beginner in cream contouring, or even if you're very familiar with cream contouring, I would highly recommend that you pick up a shade for contouring from her line. I really like this one. Like I mentioned, mine is in the shade Truffle, and I really liked applying it with a brush as opposed to applying it directly to my face. It blended out really nicely, which I'm sure it still would have blended out very nicely if I just applied it directly to my skin. But I found that the brush gave me a lot more control with where I was applying the product, and also helped me to blend it out as I was actually applying it to my skin. So the contour stick, yes. Now as far as the highlighting stick, I did really like the consistency of it. I did find that it blended out really easily and really nicely underneath my eyes. However, my personal preference is I am more of a, I guess, liquid type concealer person. I'm not a huge fan of creams underneath my eyes, just because I have a lot of texture underneath my eyes and also a lot of texture in this area of my face. And I do tend to bring my concealer down into this area of my face. And one thing that I found is as I was rubbing this on my face in that area where I have that texture, it was really kind of emphasizing the texture in that area. and I was not a huge fan of that. I do really like the product. I do really like the formula and the consistency of it. It blended out seamlessly, but my preference is liquid concealer. So this one is just gonna kind of depend on what your particular preference is. Now, what I could see myself doing is going back and getting the shade that actually matches my skin tone, which I think is the shade Latte, and using that to actually conceal or correct any areas on my skin, like the dark spots that you guys know I have on my skin, using it to actually conceal those areas before I go in with the foundation. Now that is something I could see myself doing, so I will keep you guys posted. I will probably go back and get that shade that actually matches my skin tone and try that out. I'll try it out with this one, but I think this one may be a little bit too light. I don't know, I'll see. But I'll let you guys know my thoughts on how that works. I feel like that would be a better use for this stick for me personally than using it to actually highlight my face. So that is just my preference. You guys will have to decide what works best for you. But for me, that stick for highlighting under my eyes is a no. All right, so now let's talk about Trophy Wife. So this highlighter has literally been like the main kind of talk of the line after the foundation, obviously. So I wanted to pick it up and try it out. Is this something that you absolutely have to have in your life? No. If you are like the everyday girl that is looking for an everyday highlighter, this is not going to be that. Is it beautiful? Absolutely. Does it apply nicely? Did it apply nicely to my eyes and to my cheeks? Absolutely. Is this a highlighter that I'm going to pick up and wear to work and just on an everyday basis? No. But am I a makeup collector and low-key makeup hoarder? Yes. So for that reason, I will keep this highlighter just because I do think that since this is one of the most hyped items in her collection, I definitely want to keep, like, you know, hold on to it. And like I said before, I do think it is a beautiful highlighter. I could see myself using this more for like editorial type looks, or looks that are a little bit more like not your everyday kind of look, because I mean it is beautiful. As you can see, like the glow is popping on my face. But it's just not something that I would reach for on an everyday basis. It's just something that's really pretty and that I just want to make sure that I have in my collection along with the other items that I picked up. Now, I do know that Rihanna has a couple of other highlighters available in her collection. I did swatch a couple of those. I haven't had a chance to pick them up yet. But those highlighters, I would recommend going into the store, the little duos that she has, and swatching those, because those are absolutely stunning, and I think that those highlighters would be really great for everyday wear. And then last but not least is the gloss. So I think out of the entire collection, the gloss and the foundation would have to be my favorite. I am in love with the gloss. I don't know how it is that she managed to create a gloss that looks amazing across so many different skin tones, because I have watched a lot of different people's reviews, and this gloss, from the deepest of skin tones to the lightest of skin tones, looks amazing across so many different people. It smells incredible. Incredible. It smells amazing, and I love the packaging of it. You get a good bit of product in the packaging, and this is definitely something that I will continue to repurchase. I love the gloss. It definitely gets 2 thumbs up from me, and I definitely recommend that you guys pick it up. So overall, if I had to recommend, based on the products that I have purchased and that I've tried, the things that I think you guys should pick up, definitely the foundation. Definitely. And if you can, I would definitely recommend that you pick up the primer as well. So I know it's pretty pricey to pick up 2. If you have to do one or the other, I would obviously say go with the foundation, but if you can do both, I would say pick up both. For the matchsticks, I would say pick up the contour shade. The contour shade was bomb. And definitely pick up the gloss. Those would be the products that I would say for starters to start out with, and then as you try out different products, you can obviously go back and decide, you know, if you want to pick up other things from the collection. So yeah, I think that's pretty much going to complete this review. I know it's going to be a long one, so if you stuck to the end, you are the real MVP. Thank you so much for sticking in and hearing out my thoughts about this collection. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the review. If you have tried out any of the products, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And also, if you have not joined the Fayy fam, be sure to subscribe on your way out. So thank you guys so much again for watching, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye.